This is King. It's been a long time since I posted a video, but I've been talking to a lot of people about building defenses recently, and this seems like a good thing for me to put is a clip that I can just send to people, and then I can take questions from them afterwards if they're still confused about things, because a lot of people are going to tell you a lot of the same things. So if you want to build a good defense against players that are generally going to be a lot stronger than you, usually the best way to go about it is with T1 troops. And this is commonly referred to as a T1 trap. And there's different kinds of T1 traps. There's T1 ground traps, there's mounted traps. You can do it with ranged troops, but I think the one that people tend to do the most often is mounted, because mounted by themselves can act as just like a really heavy punch against the enemy's troops. And you're not going to be able to beat the big players on buffs, so you have to beat them in a different way. So basically what that means is you're going to build a lot of T1 troops. And by a lot, we're saying minimum probably 100 million, honestly. You're going to build a lot of them. And we can go look at my troop makeup. And I can first start by saying I'm not a T1 trap by any means, but I still make use of T1s. I have almost 200 million T1 mounted troops. Because, the T1 mounted troops, they have a relatively high attack, and what you can do is if you go to, your general and you're doing your refines, you can add flat stats. And you can see here, I have some flat mounted attack. So basically, every one of my mounted troops gets about 1,000 attack. Whereas, I have percentages for other stuff. I have percentage siege machine attack. This is better for my higher tiers, right? It's taking up percent of those, higher attack stats that you would get from a higher tier troop, right? We can see over here, my T1s have an attack of about 1,200, where if I go all the way over here to my T14s, they have an attack that's way higher, 20 times as high, right? So they're going to get a lot more benefit from those percentage buffs, whereas these T1s don't get that much benefit from the percentage buffs, but they get a lot of benefit from the flat buffs. So the idea is you get flat buffs on wherever you can, and you build a whole bunch of T1 troops that match those flat buffs. If you have a dragon, you can do the same thing. Here I have some more mounted troop attack buffs. The reason why I have this is because T1 mounted is probably one of the best troops to deal with grounds, right? And what often happens in battlefields is if a player is a lot stronger than you, they'll just ground you. And if you can't, at the very the bar is you have to be able to beat the ground march from the big player, right? And force them to try and work through you with range and other stuff. So, I have to scroll back a while to find a report of someone hitting me with ground. I can probably find it if you give me a second. Because I'm not the size of a player that people will usually hit with ground. Here it is. This is a couple challenges ago, but you can see here they hit me with ground. This didn't go super well for me, partially just because I had a bunch of ground troops, and their ground troops just destroyed mine. All the way down to my T1s. I still had some T1s. But the thing I want to point out here is my mounted troops, they did a lot of damage, right? So, the goal for most people when they're building a keep is going to be, you need to be able to defend these ground marches. But, they're a lot stronger than you, right? My buffs are okay, but they're close to double mine over here, right? His ground buffs are high. So he destroyed my ground. That's why all my ground is wiped out. So the goal when you're building a T1 trap is you don't want there to be too many points for the big players to kill. Right here, you can actually see here, this was not an amazing defense for me because I went negative on power. It was close, but I went negative on power. And if I didn't have all those ground troops in my keep, then he would have hit my calves. Maybe he would have killed all my ground, but I didn't have a lot. And you would have gotten almost 400 million power, and he would have gotten a lot less because he didn't have those ground troops to kill. So we're trying to build our T1 trap to have lots of T1s, but not tons of other points that are easy to get. And I think the easiest points to get tend to be high tier calves, high tier ground, and siege. So like your T1 trap is going to have lots of T1 calves, at least 100 million. And it's going to have not too many of other ground troops. You still need some there for layers. Maybe you could say 100,000 of each. You could do a little more, but like, again, like I have a decent amount. I lost that report, but I have a decent amount, and they all got cleared, right? So if I didn't have those there, it would have been a much better report for me, right? So sometimes more troops isn't better. On the other end of things, range troops tend to get targeted later. So if you want to build lots of range troops and just have them sit inside of your T1 trap, that's usually pretty safe to do because it's like hard for them to get to those archers without dealing with the T1 mounted wall that you should have. So troop makeup is interesting. I might suggest like maybe 500,000 of each of T11 through T13 range. Maybe like, ideally like probably 50,000 of each of your ground tiers and siege tiers, and like your higher level mounted tiers. And if you have more calves than that, you can ghost them. That's something that we can deal with later. And then like for your mounted, you're going to have maybe about like 50,000 all the way down. And then you're going to build at least 100 million T1 calves. And then on top of that, you're going to refine your general in a really special way. And I don't actually have a perfect one that I can show you, but basically what you're looking for when you're refining, and I have another video on specifics of how you refine. But like what you're looking for with refining is you want these flat numbers here. And they actually like made this like somewhat user friendly. But like, you know, if I look at what I can get from that flat mount attack, I can get up to 1096, up to 1096. If I hit refine, it'll show me those are golds, right? You can just look for, if you want to, gold flat refines for mounted. But like ideally you want all of these to be flat, right? You can look here, all of mine are flat because these flat numbers, they're helping your T1 the most. So like your goal in doing this is you're going to make all your gear and you want all 4 of these to be gold or purple, right? Some of these, it's the wrong button. If you're close to the high amount, it's, sorry, not purple, orange. You want all of these, or as many as possible of these, to be gold or orange plus a number, not plus a percentage, right? So like ideally all 4 of these say mounted troop attack plus a number. All 4 of these here say mounted troop defense, and a number. Same thing here, mounted troop defense plus a number, mounted troop HP plus a number, blah, blah, blah. And your refines aren't going to look exactly like my refines look like because my keep is different, right? What am I looking for? If I go look in the general ranking, T1 traps tend not to be super high in here because if you have a lot of money to get Civ gear, you tend to not need to build a T1 trap. But something like this is reasonable, right? You can look here, you'd want all these to be plus a number, mounted troop HP. All these to be plus a number, mounted troop HP. All these to be plus a number, mounted troop attack. In my opinion, the attack matters the most because that's what allows you to punch through their ground troops when they inevitably attack you like that. But like if you want to be durable and want to be able to take more than a few hits, you do need to get that mounted HP and mounted defense upwards. Otherwise, like they will just clear you out with range and a couple attacks, and then you're easy game. All right, so summing this up, be careful about the troops you build. More troops isn't necessarily better, and your higher tier troops, your higher tier non-range troops, can be a bit of a liability in terms of being positive or negative on points. Build a lot of T1 caps. I would suggest at least 100 million. As players get bigger, 200, 300 million. Like, you know, the number has to keep going up with how powerful players go. Get your flat refines done. Right, so on your wall general, once you get all Achaemenid gear, you need to start working on the refines, but only do it during refining event. Let's see if there's anything else I should add to this. One thing you can do, and I know this is a hard sell for some people, but like your dragon, like there's very few ways to get flat refines. You can get it from to get flat like buffs. You can get it from refining your gear, or you can get it from dragons. Unless you have Wonder 1, you have your wings unlocked, then you don't have the wall-specific dragon. One thing you can do is if you're willing to take it off of your monster rallying general, is you can take your Fafnir, who does like do a little bit of boosting mallet attack, and you can go put refines on him that are plus a number. Again, you have to take them off your monster rallying general, so that's kind of up to you, but it will actually add quite a bit to your T1 trap. Thanks everyone for watching. Please leave a comment, or you can send me a message in game if you have any questions. And I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.